Today I'm going to show you 3 different startup procedures for your Indian Chief. We're going to do a rapid start. We're going to do a typical start, the start I normally do every day, what my usual procedure is, a procedure which causes me 0 inconvenience, by the way. And then thirdly, we'll do a start where we're going to input a GPS coordinate and see how long that takes. And finally, we'll finish with a very important tip on maximising the life of your Indian Chief engine. Now, the first procedure I'm going to show you is the rapid start procedure. Here's a scenario. You're out on a ride with your mates, you're chatting away, all of a sudden you look over and they're all got their helmets on and they're taken off. This is my rapid start procedure. Now, with your Indian Chief, you always want to make sure that you start your bike in neutral. And let's time how long it takes to start. I'm going to press the start button now. What I do is I wait till I see the green neutral light come on. That tells me the fuel pump's primed. I can then hit the start button, put it in the first gear and go. Now, as you can see, that doesn't take very long. The only downside is you just got to wait a few seconds for this to catch up. You don't have to touch it. It'll just set itself to the screen that you last had set to, and you're good to go. But that is my rapid start procedure. I don't recommend the rapid start procedure for one very good reason, which I'll share shortly. But that is how quickly you can get going on your Indian Chief if it's an emergency or you just got to get going straight away. Okay, the second procedure I'm going to show you is my typical, normal, everyday startup procedure. For this startup procedure, what I do is hop on the bike, turn the power button on, wheel the bike back out of the garage, hit the power button. Now you'll see the neutral lights on. And then walk over, glasses, grab my helmet and my gloves, pop my helmet on, pop my gloves on, and I'm ready to roll. Now you notice I didn't have to touch that screen once because I get it started and just walk away from the bike. By the time I go and get my gloves and my helmet, pop it on, close the garage door, the screen's ready to go and I don't even have to think about that. There's a very important part of that startup that I'll talk about after I show you startup 3. Now the third procedure I'm going to show you is the start with GPS input. And I'll turn the power button on. We're going to do a startup and we're going to do GPS. So I'll start the engine, see my neutral light, wait for the GPS to start up. The display to start up first, then the GPS. It's okay. Now I like to use the toggle switch to get to my GPS screen, loading navigation. And search. Let's search for Talbot. Now the GPS startup's going to be the slowest, obviously, to get going and get the bike started and put your coordinates in. But you know, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You can get the bike started, get the bike running, which is going to be circulating the oil for 30 seconds as Indian recommend, even on a warm engine, or a minute on a cold engine. Get the bike warmed up, and as the bike's warming up, enter your GPS coordinates. So by the time you're finished, the bike's warmed up and ready to go. Now, the GPS starts don't affect me that much because I rarely use it. I only use it if I'm going to go on a trip somewhere, or if I'm trying to find a certain location, but that may be once a month, once every 2 months. If, on the other hand, you are using it every day to get around and you need to use it every day, then that could be an issue in the time it takes to start up and get going. I'd wager that for 90% of us, not even 95% of us, it's not going to be a problem. Get on the bike, turn the power on, start the engine, and while the engine's warming up, put your GPS coordinates in, and then you're ready to go. The point of this Indian Chief startup video, the final tip that I need to share, if you read the manual, you'll see in the tips there that Indian recommend that you idle the bike for at least 30 seconds if it's warm, and a minute or longer if the engine is cold or if it's really cold weather. And that's to ensure that you get maximum engine life from the motorcycles, because you've got to remember this is a air-cooled big V-twin. You've got to give the engine time to circulate the oil and get everything ready to ride. But this goes the same for any internal combustion engine. You shouldn't really press the starter button, put in the first gear and take off. You've got to give time for the oil to circulate in the engine and get everything ready to go. With my typical startup procedure where I just walk out, always start the bike in neutral for an Indian Chief. That's what's recommended in the manual, owner's manual as well. I walk out, wheel the bike out, turn the power button on, wait a couple of seconds for the fuel pump to prime. When I see the green neutral light come on, I know it's time that I can press the start button. I press the start button, I get off, go get my helmet, gloves, close the garage door, put my helmet and gloves on, and the bike's well and truly ready to go before I'm ready to go. But if you do find yourself in an emergency situation where you need to take off quickly, as you can see, it's not a problem. Okay, I think that'll do it for this video. My next video is going to be titled The Truth About the Indian Chief Fuel Gauge, but that's for tomorrow. If you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.